butthole, babies.
Ray does not have a pretty butthole.
Nope, just saw it, and it is
Just not good.
not great.
Not
I
good.
hate getting up in front of you, asshole.
Yeah, you
I
should.
know you're
We
making
just-
fat jokes.
Yeah. We just saw your butthole.
Pull
It's
your
gross.
pants up next
Pull your
time.
pants up, fatty.
Drop
thought you
some
were-
tea.
I thought you wore expensive wife beaters under your shirt, so we didn't have to see.
Oh,
your
yeah,
asshole.
he's here.
Oh, you saw my
So we
butt
didn't
crack?
have to see your asshole when you get up.
You saw my asshole?
Yeah, we saw your asshole. You
No
fuck.
fucking way.
Yeah, we did.
You're just trying to coerce me to show you my asshole.
Pull your asshole out.
You don't
fucking-
pull your
Ooh.
asshole out. You show your asshole. And the
What
last
do you
time that
mean?
happened on this show, the Simple Mind Sports Show was almost no more. So no, I will not do
You
that.
tried to show Rich's dick on the internet.
Is it
That's
an
different
innie
than
or an outie?
asshole.
My butthole?
Hmm.
I don't know. Does hemorrhoids count as an Audi?
Oh,
Yeah.
Cal,
Depends.
that just
Outie.
shows us. That just shows a sign of pegging. Kelly must have some fun. That no wonder why you can't get a hard
No,
on.
there's a lot of one ply at work.
Oh no, yeah, that's cactus ass. Just that's a word. I don't understand why these expensive companies have the fucking cheapest toilet paper, and
Agreed.
I will never fucking understand that.
Me either.
No, it's a good
Oh.
question.
Oh, look at this. That's
Oh.
crisp. That's a crisp picture you got going.
Hey guys, how's it
Wicked
going?
crisp. I thought that was a still shot. How you doing, Will?
Good. How you guys doing?
Very good.
Great. So it was interesting how much of the initial conversation our guests hear when they come on.
Sorry, what's that?
No, nothing. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for joining
How
us.
you doing?
Good. You can hear us okay?
Yeah, I like the background. I like the Williams 420.
Oh, thank you.
I was on a flight from the Bay Area to Oregon like 10 years ago, and I got off and we were on the tarmac walking into the airport, and I looked over and I saw that on my flight the entire time was, of all people, Ricky Williams. And,
You could smell the marijuana like reeking from him right
it was
there.
emanating off of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that character from Charlie Brown, Pigpen.
It's like me on a flight.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you compare yourself to Ricky Williams? How dare you?
Never mind.
He's big, he maybe
I don't look the part. That let's be real.
that dude is so, like, each calf was like that big. He had no fat on him. And each calf was like that big.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've determined that Bill's not an athlete, although he's a baseball guy, and we're all baseball guys. So we're happy that you're here. We have a lot of questions.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then we just count to three and we're on the air. How does that work?
No,
Yeah.
we're on the air now. Let's
This
just
is it.
go.
No. We'll
is
do
it.
I'll do an introduction, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, obviously pretty casual. So
Here, let me get my background because I can join the sports. Let me see if I can get this.
Do you just have a flat screen TV in a closet behind you?
I've got some good stuff that you guys will like if I can figure out how to.
You know what I have in those closets, Raymond?
Click clack.
Motherfucker.
All right, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
oh yeah, no,
There we
that's
go.
classy.
Yeah,
I like that.
Who are you, Ian Rappaport?
You can't really see. Well, you can kind of see, but I got Ricky Henderson's cleats right there,
Ooh,
right there.
that's
Yeah.
good memorabilia right there.
Other stuff around, but anyway.
I got a Chipper Jones signed jersey in this closet framed right now. So yeah.
Nice.
It's like so AK-47. Is there anything on that whiteboard that we shouldn't see?
No, we're good
Okay.
on the whiteboard. Yeah.
Okay, good. No secrets. All right, well, let's do this. Welcome to the Simple Mind Sports Show. With us today is Will Cooper from the podcast Moneyball with Will Cooper, the podcast that compares Hollywood with history. Will, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Richard. Great to be here. Glad to be on. And just to clarify, I was a guest on that podcast. It's a really fun podcast, but I don't want to leave the
You don't want to take credit for the appearance that you had, because it's
I wish I could. Normally, I don't mind, plagiarizing and taking credit for other people's things, but they were so nice to me over there that I will clarify.
it was
that.
an awesome spot start then? Because it seemed like you were in complete control over that.
It was
So
it was
well
a
done
lot
by
of
you.
fun. Thank you. It was a lot of fun, and the host is a really nice guy, and so he wasn't pounding beers like you guys. So this might be even more entertaining. I'm looking forward to it.
Generally
I'm at the perfect mix right now, so this is gonna be fun.
Keep it level. Well, let's do this. I would like your opinion on how well. Well, why don't you just give us your background, your time with the A's, and that that point in time in baseball, and how you got involved with that, and then we'll kind of move into the movie.
Sounds great. So when I was, I'm a huge sports fan, huge A's fan my whole life. When I was 17, a friend of mine that was working for the A's got me a job. I was working in the visiting locker room. So I've been a fan my whole life, and all of a sudden, one day I walk in and I'm in the clubhouse. All the teams that the A's play, so it's the whole league, and then with interleague, it includes all the NL teams as well, come in, and I was part of the staff that got them food and laundry and run errands and grab the balls after BP. I was even a ball boy a few times early on, and then shortly after I started doing video editing in the scouting department, so breaking down game film that the players, coaches, and front office would look. This was old school. This was 1998. And the A's, unsurprisingly, with the budget, were pretty low budget on this. So I was literally doing VHS, tapes.
Good old days.
So were you Jonah Hill in the movie? Just a lower quality?
A much thinner version of Jonah Hill, although actually not that thin, just much thinner than he was. Jonah Hill played Paul DiPodesto, who was the assistant GM. They kept Billie's name and a lot of other people's names, but my understanding is Paul, asked them to use a different name. But no, I was
because he was trying to ruin the Cleveland Browns at that time, I think. So he didn't want to be associated with any baseball.
He hadn't gone to that's at the time of yes. Well, yes, he was at the Browns at that point. Yeah. But I was just a low level staff person, obviously not in the movie in any real way, but I was around those guys, and in the movie they're in the video room, hanging out and spending time there. That was very true. The front office used to hang out in the video room and watch the games, and so the movie was a mix, as I mentioned in the previous podcast. It was a mix of fact and fiction, but one of the aspects that was accurate was that there was a lot of time spent in the video room, and I got to be there and be a fly on the wall and participate in some of the conversation. So it was nice. A lot of fun. Yeah.
So yeah, to jump into the movie. I listened on the podcast before, but obviously people listening might not have heard it. How accurate was it? Would you say? Was it, 50-50, if you want to put a percentage on it, or what are things, some they got right, or more importantly, what are the things they got wrong?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. It was definitely a mix of fact and fiction. I thought the overall story was pretty accurate.
Was Brad Pitt just too hot? Was that part of it?
Chris Pratt is Scott Hatteberg. Come on, get out of here.
Chris Pratt doesn't have the hands of Scott Hatteberg. Come on.
God, no. Scott Hatteberg, catcher, Red Sox. Come on, please.
Anyway, go ahead, Will.
It was a mix. The overall arc of the story was true in the sense that we had that big season. We won 20 games. We lost in the playoffs. All the stuff you get from a sports page, that was all true. And the fact that Billie and Paul, played by Jonah Hill in the movie, Peter Brand, but Paul DiPodesta in real life, the fact that they were pushing hard into the numbers game and sabermetrics and building the team with that model in mind was true.
Yeah.
But what the movie producers did was take, the raw material that was accurate and embellish it quite a bit and create dramas and tensions and storylines that were not accurate. And I think one example of that was the tension and the fighting between Billie and Art Howe in the movie.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, give that guy some props.
R.I.P.
He's a good actor. And the movie, I thought the movie was great. I thought they did a great job, but he and Billie are just sort of really at loggerheads throughout the movie. You know, Billie walks in the room and Art is just disgusted to even see his presence and refusing to do anything Billie tells him. Billie in the movie actually has to make a trade to get Hatterberg in the lineup. That was way exaggerated. Of course, in any
Giambi sucked anyways.
Who did?
Giambi sucked anyways.
Giambi? He may have won the MVP that year.
No, his brother.
Oh, his brother. Yeah, Jeremy. He was interesting. Yeah, him not sliding when Jeter made that great play.
He was
safe.
interesting.
Anybody that says he was interesting,
Interesting means he's
exactly
an
what he
asshole.
means.
Yeah.
He was on the Red Sox in 03 and they dumped him to Ortiz could start his Hall of Fame career.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I remember Ortiz as a rookie on the Twins, just this big old goofball. And like everybody else, nobody had any idea he was going to be anything. He wasn't some huge.
Yeah, where the fuck was Beane on that one?
He came in in 03. He came in in 03 with the Reds. He came in 03 with the Red Sox in platoon with Shea Hildebrand and Jeremy Giambi, and they got ready to dump them both.
Yeah, and he just
Bill is a useless pit of baseball information. So if you say anything wrong, he will let you know.
I love baseball. It just sucks because Moneyball ruined it. So it's just had a hand in ruining the game I love.
I'm curious what you mean. How did Moneyball?
The nerds. This is it. It's the
you don't like the nerds. Oh, so you're a Joe Morgan guy.
Yeah, the nerds ruined baseball. I don't watch a playoff baseball game to watch fucking Corey Nebel pitch 3 goddamn batters or 2 batters and they get fucking pulled out of a game. We're talking playoffs. I don't need guys that are getting pulled out of a game in 4th innings. Blake Snell 2 years ago in the fucking World Series. No, they ruined the goddamn baseball.
Have a heart attack.
Overshifting, this fucking Tampa Bay model, the Oakland A's model ruined it. They don't win anything. I'm tired of it. It's ruined baseball.
Well, do you think that the A's and Moneyball
opinion.
are responsible for that, or do you completely disagree with Bill's tirade?
I think what the A's did was take a trend that had been going on for a long time. Bill James had been around since I think the 70s writing about this stuff, and more people had been learning about it and it had been growing, but it was still a small set of people in baseball that actually were thinking about it in a meaningful way. And what Billie did and the A's did was take it to a whole nother level. So they didn't invent it. They weren't the only ones doing it, but they accelerated that trend quite dramatically. And now here we are 20 years later, and instead of Billie and Paul and some smart people doing some innovations, you've got what is driving Bill nuts, which is an army of MIT statisticians in every front office, crunching every last number and doing all sorts of shifts and this and that, and relief pitchers throwing 3 batters. So all of that is an extension and an evolution of what the A's started. But I wouldn't say the A's are solely responsible for it.
Or for the fact that Dodgers against the Red Sox in the World Series benched their top 7 home run hitters in Game 1 of the World Series against Chris Sale. I mean, that just because the nerds told them they had to. That stuff pisses me off. You're paying these guys millions and millions of dollars and you're sitting them against this pitcher. It just drives me nuts because as soon as Chris Sale gets out of the game, or David Price, I don't remember who started Game 1, all these guys, all the right-handed batters or left-handed batters came off the bench, and it's just like it's ridiculous. I just don't like the way it's going.
Stand on it from like a baseball standpoint, though. Obviously, you've been close to it. Do you kind of parse it? Do you see the value in it? And because this is where I stand. Obviously I think it works. I mean, you look at the Tampa Bay Rays, and they've been really successful for a really long time. They got up into a bad decision with Blake Snell, basically, from winning the World Series. However, you take away the whole sport of it, right? They're still humans. There's still emotion. There's still motivation, and everything else involved. And I think when you get too robotic with it, you end up losing that, and you suffer at the end. Where do you stand on it? The level it's come to and what it's doing to baseball, where we agree it's kind of helping to kill the sport that needs something different.
Yeah. A couple thoughts. I think there's a lot of life left, I think, in baseball. I think some of these counterintuitive changes, especially I think Bill, your example of relief pitcher is a very good one. They are robotic and they do diminish the enjoyment of the game for me a little bit, but it's certainly not anything close to ruining the game. There's all sorts of drama and excitement that's still happening. If you look at, for example, the Giants-Dodgers series in the playoffs last year, I mean, there was lots of great baseball throughout the season and the postseason. So it's slightly, for me, less what it used to be in terms of that dynamic, but it's still a great game, and there's still an enormous amount of home runs and excitement. One change that I don't think is related to sabermetrics at all, that's been a very material change in the game, is how dominant the pitchers have become compared to where they were a few days
they're
ago.
getting bigger, stronger, and I think
that's changing the game.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys coming in throwing 100 on the regular. They're throwing 100 pitches at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I'm in favor of moving the mound back a foot. I mean, we need something, because the game relies on too much home runs. And again, the pitchers, you're paying these guys millions and millions of dollars to be starting pitchers to go 3-4 innings. I'm not saying baseball is not exciting to me, because I watch every playoff game. You know, I love the Sox. I love the Braves. I'll watch every time they're in. I watch as much as I can, but it's still like, I'm still bitching.
You're a Braves fan and you're this cynical? You got a ring.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Welcome to our life, Will. There's no pleasing the queen.
No,
I went on a tirade last night how Andrew Jones didn't make the fucking Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Chipper making it was great to see. The only other thing I'll say in response to your question, Richard, just to round out my answer, is I think it's unbelievably competitive baseball, of course. And you used to have almost all of that competition on the field. Now a lot of the competition is in the front office, and you've got these big operations. And so some of what the changes that are happening are just people being very intelligent. And even if it takes away some of the entertainment, if it increases the likelihood that the team's going to win, it's just going to happen. So some of this, even though I agree it takes away some of the drama and the tradition of the game, it's inevitable. If it is in fact true, as the science shows, that having relief pitchers get more involved, if that helps you win, it's going to happen. It's just inevitable.
So
real quick, but to back your point up, though, that's like, I understand teams want to win, but that's the wrong way to go, like, as far as growing the game of baseball, right? Like, so baseball, the viewership, the average age is, you're looking at in the 50s, right? So the average age, you're looking at a fucking old folks home. They need to do something to really bring the game back. And doing these changes, they're not doing it. They need to make the game exciting. What brought baseball back to the pinnacle was fucking McGuire and Sosa chasing a home run record. The steroids, it was offense, and this. Now it's so centered around pitching. Like, they need to speed the game up. They need to make it more exciting, and going this sabermetrics bullshit way is not going to do it.
No, I think it's a great. I have a McGuire hat from 98.
Oh, I thought
we can see an A's hat.
I thought you just didn't want to look at Bill anymore.
It's when he's on the. It's from
98. It's got to be a Cardinals. Yeah.
From when he's on the Cardinals, but I don't see it. I completely agree with you. The game needs, I think moving back to pitcher's mound might be a good idea. The game needs a jolt of energy. It needs to get more modern. I agree with all of that. I think the reasons the game has slowed down in the popular mindset in a number of ways, part of it is the sabermetrics, but I think some of it is natural evolution that's not numbers. And one of those is pitchers. Just, they're so much bigger and stronger that the proportionality between the mound and the plate and the increased strength of all of the people playing is just favoring pitchers more than it should.
Yeah.
So I have a question, since you're talking about the game and what the problems are. They're locked out again. I mean, the owners and players that once again are fighting with each other. Do you think, one, that they'll solve it? And whose side are you on? Are you on more on the owner side or the player side?
It's a great question. I don't know enough about the specifics to know if they'll solve it. I think in
They're
baseball,
caving. Owners are caving a little bit. So the average salary just went up. I think it's 750. I think they're going to start using like WAR and stuff in the earlier years
for bonuses and stuff. Yeah.
for bonuses, because right now they tell you like year to year when you're in your first couple of years, they're like, you're going to make this much this year. They just tell you what your contract is. So stuff like that. So they're getting close. You know, I've said on this show June 1st, I think they're going to start. But, you know, if they could start agreeing now, you could still kind of get a truncated or you could start fucking spring training kind of on time, maybe in March, and then you're still into that May range, and you can really cram some games in. You could probably get, you know, 140, 150 games in.
I sure hope they do. And those are great points. As far as where I sit, I'm a player. I'm on the player side. Other than the freak anomalies that are actually a really small percentage of players that get 50, 100 million, and then the uber freaks that get multiple hundred, they're a totally different category. You know, a huge percentage of players, even if they seem like they're making a lot of money after taxes and
Agent fees, all that stuff.
Everybody's taking their slice, including the government, the biggest slice, and agents and all that. And then you factor in that a lot of players only play a short amount of time. Guys in the minors are often, you know,
if you're Fernando Tatis, you're paying a loan shark.
Yeah,
28 million or whatever.
And that's related to my next point, which is these guys have spent their whole lives. Let's say they have a really good career, an 8-year career in the big leagues, which is fantastic, way more than most people that are drafted get, and they make 25 million bucks or whatever. They're not spending their lives thinking about business issues. They're not spending their lives thinking about how, you know, what am I going to do from there? You know, some of them are, but it's pretty rare. The reason they're so good at baseball is that's what they're obsessed with. And so They're 28 years old. They've retired. They've got 60 years to go in life. And some of them, you know, 1% of them can become announcers. Some of them can become coaches, et cetera. But
to also make a video game and rob the state of Rhode Island out of $80 million, but who's counting?
Yeah, chilling.
There's jackpots, but those are right tail. The core of the bell curve are to me, folks that don't have it as good as it seems. And so the more money that can go to the players, the better. I don't think they're greedy just because the extremes are making an enormous sum. I think the core should get whatever they can.
Which I agree with, because arbitration.
Sorry, Bill. The only qualm I have with the players on that side, because you're right, you know, and there's so many baseball players, and as tough as it's to see MLB kind of shedding some of their minor league systems as they are, it's probably the right thing to do because it's so widespread. They should, you know, give an opportunity for some lower leagues to come up. But my point is, these negotiations are being led by those top 1% of the players, and they aren't budging on any of, you know, their, you know, comps, right? So they're saying they want to get more for the younger players and move arbitration, but they're not budging on anything that would maybe alleviate their pay by, you know, $500,000 or, you know, whatever the numbers are. So, you know, it's a tough negotiation, and the Baseball Players Association is as strong as anyone we've probably ever seen in sports.
Yeah,
you got to be team player all the time in this situation.
Yeah, it's a great point, Richard, and yeah, I agree that it's not just everything the players do and all the players is all perfect and great, and everything the owners do is bad. There's mix, and there's things that some players do that maybe they shouldn't. My personal view is, in general, that big mass of players in the middle should get as much as they can, because they're going to be 55 one day, and the fact that they made $2 million when they were 22, it very easily won't help them a whole lot.
I'm with you.
No, and also
we should
fucking
write a
with
letter
service
to
time. Yeah,
who's Tony Clark? Write a letter to Tony Clark. It's not Max Scherzer he should be looking out for. It's the guy we haven't heard of, right? So that's the negotiation.
That's my view. Now Scherzer is going to have huge influence. He's got a huge microphone. His agents are going to be, you know, they get, you know, their slice of his pie, so they want his pie. So those guys are going to be very influential for.
What kind of slice is $43 million a year? How much slice is that? 10%, 12%?
Goddamn big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, well, we appreciate the time, and it went a little bit off the tangent. We didn't talk a whole lot about Moneyball, but this has been awesome baseball talk, which we don't get a lot of, and especially in the winter. But so it's perfect timing. Obviously, we had the Hall of Fame vote last night. We just finished the show pretty much shitting on the BBWA for not letting Clemens and Bonds in specifically, and had a little bit of. I mean, we're Sox guys, so we're big Poppy guys. I mean,
Yeah.
we consider him the greatest Red Sox of all time. We could get into that conversation, but would love your opinion on the steroid era and these guys not getting in and Ortiz getting in on the first ballot, and just your thoughts on that as we close out the show.
Well, I'll preface, especially talking to 3 Red Sox fans, that I love Ortiz, incredible player. He was a great guy. I got to know him a little bit when they would come in, or I again remember him as a rookie on the Twins, no one had ever heard of, and then a few years later, he's the face of baseball.
Steroids.
My personal view, and I'm a purist in this respect, and I respect everybody's view, but my personal opinion is if you are a known steroid user and it's been established, I don't think you should get in. And
all right, well, this has been good talking to you. No.
Yeah, it's a fine
go
line.
ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead, finish your thought.
That's my view, and like I said, I respect all views. Now, I grew up in Oakland, right? McGuire and Canseco, they were my heroes.
How about Giambi?
Same thing, love them. Wasn't a hero in the same sense because I was older and I knew him. But the fact that the key for me is that you don't know. People always say, oh, well, just look to before it started and would they have gone in the Hall of Fame anyway? You don't know when it started. Rafael Palmeiro did steroids. That guy, you couldn't find a muscle on that guy if you tried.
He told Congress he never did it. I never did steroids.
I liked when Sammy Sosa all of a sudden forgot how to speak English.
Oh, we have talked about this on the
I
show
love that.
many times.
He was on every interview for 20 years, and then when he goes to speak to Congress, he forgets how to.
I like when he turned into a vampire, but I just want to say
now he's white.
I understand what you're saying, Will, and we made this point in the show earlier that I don't think everyone, in that era with the numbers should, like Rafael Palmeiro, you watch him play. No, he's not a Hall of Famer, right? Sammy Sosa was a home run guy for a couple of years, not a Hall of Famer. I think there are certain names you could bring up that we have specific issues with. Clemens and Bonds are at the top of the list. Look, they had Hall of Fame careers. You want to say when it started or not? I mean, they're the 2 best players of their era on either side of the ball.
Bonds
right? It's like
in San Francisco for sure.
Your baseball Hall
That's
of Fame is missing the number one. Your leader in hits, leader in home runs, and leader in Cy Youngs. That's a tough pill to swallow in baseball.
Roger Clemens was I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I hope he never.
I remember when he won his 7th Cy Young, and I remember talking to. Who was it? It was Juan Guzman, I think, who came in 2nd one year. You guys remember him?
Yeah, steroids.
And he was like, that was the crowning achievement of my life. And I can't, it was so hard to even be runner-up one year. And this guy just won his 7th in a row. And then Bonds perhaps dominated baseball at his peak more than any players dominated any sport ever. If you threw the ball in his direction, it ended up in the water over right field for several years. Yeah. No question about it.
We were going back and forth in this stat, but
oh yeah.
In 2004, I'm trying to pull it up. He had he had more he got on base more times than he had plate appearances because the amount of times that he was walked, which was 128 intentional and however many total. It was, just no one's ever done it. More times on base than plate appearances.
Who's dominated like that in their sport in a way, just sort of changing, even, it'd be like Wilt Chamberlain, instead of scoring 100 one game, averaging 100 or something.
He had 120 intentional walks in 2004 with, 234 total walks, and 120 were intentional.
It's just crazy. And in
Pittsburgh, he was the man. He was a brilliant.
He struck out 41
back
times.
MVPs.
41 strikeouts.
And look, clearly he juiced his head off in San Francisco. Like, he deserves a lot of criticism, but yeah, it's
The key to me is not punishing these guys. It's not like you did it, so you should be punished and you shouldn't be out. The key to me is we do not know the counter history. We don't know. A lot of guys are great, and then they only play 10 years or whatever it may be. You don't know. So if you allow them in, you're making an assumption, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt that had they never done steroids, they would have gotten in.
There's a lot in this era. Pudge Rodriguez, Mike Piazza, Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, all those guys are in those eras. They were fringe guys that barely got. I mean, Biggio got in because he had 3,000 hits. Pudge Rodriguez, obviously one of the best catchers, but come on, man, those are all steroid users. You can clearly tell, and I don't know those are the guys that kind of bring guys like Ortiz, because I think without it, he's a Hall of Famer. He had 541 home runs. Clemens, Bonds, those guys deserve to get in, but guys like Biggio, Manny, A-Rod, those guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame on pure talent, but it's guys like the questionable fringe guys in the steroid era that do not deserve to get in.
And we don't know if they did, but some of those guys probably did, and they just didn't get caught. So the whole thing is a cluster, right?
Exactly. There's too much questions around it. They didn't link, but you have to question every single guy from that era, from 95 to 2005 when they started implementing
still
real.
going now, though. It's still going on now.
The testing right now is insanely crazy now. So like at the time, it was like the anonymous list was 03, 04 is when, and then OT's it popped out in 09. And then it was swept under the rug because he's loved by the media, where Clemens and Bonds were assholes to fucking everybody, and they were hated. That's why Ortiz got in. He's not a first ballot, second, third, fourth, fifth ballot. Yes, he should have got in by numbers, but now weak class, and they're fucking holding the steroid users against them.
The whole thing's a mess. But to me, either way, it sucks. You don't let these guys in, and then other guys get in, and that's not fair. And the fact that the two best players of the era are in, that sucks. I agree. But let's say Barry Bonds did get in, would you guys feel like that was just pure and happy? And would you have no reservation?
I hate the prick. I hope him and Clemens never get in.
The guy's head tripled in size.
What I would feel, though, is I would feel
32.
I would feel David Ortiz is vindicated because Barry Bonds is in. At this point, I think David Ortiz being a first ballot Hall of Famer, while Clemens and Bonds get voted out in the same year again,
because he just got shot. That's why he
cheapens it. Well, that might be true.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
he did get
the inconsistency. Is
almost died.
Yeah. Well, baseball sparks up a lot of opinions and energies. That's for sure. It's been around long enough, and we appreciate you jumping on us, Will. We won't take up any more of your time, but thank you for joining us and talking some baseball, man.
My pleasure. You guys have a great show. It's really fun to hear your views. Keep it up. And I really appreciate the opportunity to join you today. So thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, thank you. It was fun.
Even though we disagreed on everything, we're still friends. That makes me feel good.
Well,
Bill's
got one now.
I just like baseball. I'll debate baseball till I die.
I love it. And you do a good job at it. And congrats on the Braves. I'm an A's fan. I don't know what it feels like to win a World Series.
Keep plugging away at those Saber Matrix, baby. You'll get there.
Stop Moneyball.
We'll see. Yeah, I know. I opened myself up to that one, didn't I?
Yeah, a little bit.
You did.
All right, well, we'll see you, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Later, Will.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How are you?
When you get Billy baseball going, it's hard to stop him.
It's fine though. That's all it is. And it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
This was his time. This was his show. This was his time to shine.
There was some. I had some.
It was good back and
It was
forth.
very good. No, it was great. That was great. I thought it was great.
It was very good. And Will
went on a
is
tangent. I did get angry because
You do.
Hey,
but you guys are friends.
Hey,
You got a
what's
friend
up?
now, Bill.
You guys are friends now. Welcome. Congrats, Bill.
Congrats, Bill.
Sweet.
First friends.
So happy.